here, finally ready to get things started in our very first match of the inaugural season of the Overwatch League. Agilities has the Dragon Blade out, gets a couple with that one. LA Valiant will defeat San Francisco Shock in a 4-0.
Seoul Dynasty might just be the best Overwatch team. They don't need any caveats.
This is exactly the high-level Overwatch match we were hoping it would be, and I'm getting chills, man. Seoul Dynasty has taken this series, but man, that was close.
This is a squad that had so many logistic issues, we didn't get a chance to see them during the preseason.
It's a self-destruct bonanza, huge, and the Outlaws are running out of steam. There it is, the Fusion get it done. Welcome to the Overwatch League. We're lucky to have you.
Where was the talk about Pine? That guy's a monster.
And boom, Pine wins the duel.
They don't want to have anything to do with this, man. New York, they are a team to reckon with.
London, arguably the second most stacked lineup behind the Seoul Dynasty.
Fantastic work from London.
What a week it's been. We made history this week. I can't wait to do this again, starting next week. We're back live in Los Angeles. Welcome back for week 2 of the Overwatch League regular season. Hello, everybody. We are live in the Blizzard Arena, ready to kick off the games once again. I'm your host at the desk, Chris Puckett, and I am joined by some of the best. It's the British Invasion here for the opening day of week 2. We got Brennan Sideshow alongside our insider, Zoe, is back on the desk.
Yeah, I know, and we've seen every team now perform in week 1, so we've answered some of the early questions about these teams, seen where they all roughly lie, people have got their power rankings, and we've got an opportunity now to see how these storylines continue.
We got our power rankings, we also have an official leaderboard, and here's a look at today's matches as we talk about how today's matches will affect that leaderboard. We open things up, and we're actually going to get to the correct graphic, because we have the San Francisco Shock taking on the Philly Fusion to open up today. A little bit later, we're going to show you the Florida Mayhem. They're 0-2, and they're going up against the Juggernauts, the 2-0 Seoul Dynasty. But the matchup I'm really looking forward to is Houston Outlaws versus the Shanghai Dragons. Both teams have been practicing. Both are 0-2. One of those will walk away with their first victory of the league. But we're here for a reason. It's the regular season, and it's time to get it started with our opening match. Please put your hands together as we welcome our first team to the main stage. It's the San Francisco Shock. Now the Shock were up and down in week 1. They lost to the Valiant on opening day, but they bounced back, defeating Shanghai 3-1. Zoe, it's a brand new week, so let's talk a little bit about how this current lineup will match up against the Fusion.
Yeah, I talked to them earlier this week. They said that they match up poorly against Philadelphia's style, this hyper-aggressive kind of dive, but they focus on that leading up to this match, and if they can play like they do during their scrims, they should be able to win not just like a regular win, but a convincing win, as they did practice against what they consider stronger teams in Fusion.
Yeah, a strong point for San Francisco Shock actually has been their creation of plans, creation of strategies for each game. They seem to come into each match with a plan of what to do against their opponent and what to do on particular maps. It's been the execution of the strategy that's looked a little shaky for them, but they always come in with an idea of what to do.
They already got a plan. We'll see if they're able to execute it. The Shock going to have their hands full. But let's take a look at this starting roster. And real quick, Bren, any surprises to see this 6-man core back together?
Not in particular, to be honest. Dante's actually been having brilliant performances in his previous game. Nevix as well, just turning up all around. But no surprises really in terms of substitutions, what they're running. Babybay and Dante, of course. Babybay really the star of the show. We talked about him to death in the previous games. He really is a phenomenal player. So across the board, I'm quite happy with what they're running.
We'll talk a little bit about the tanks for the Shock in just a moment. For now, though, we have to introduce their opponent. Please give it up for our second team of the day. It's the Philadelphia Fusion. Philly shocked the world, beating Houston in their debut, but then went on to fall to London 4-0. Brent, let's focus on the wins, though. When they were able to pick up the victories, what did we see working for this Fusion lineup?
So I've got to be paying attention here to this duo of DPS players, Carpe and Shadowburn on the Fusion. These guys are fantastic, and they're a double threat of DPS, which is what makes them so powerful and so potent in these games. If you try and shut down one, the other one is just going to strike back even harder. It doesn't matter if you try and focus down Shadowburn, because Carpe's ready to put his team on his back.
Yeah, and I'm actually very happy to see Neptuno back in the mix. We did see Dayfly stepping in their match against London. They did say that Dayfly is their best Mercy player and they do want to bring their A game to the team. But it didn't quite work out. They did have to compromise the kind of cohesion they had with Neptuno and Boombox during their earlier games in the week. So I'm very happy to see Neptuno back.
Get one of the shot callers back in the lineup. Hopefully it'll work a little bit better than their matchup against London because that went south really quick. We got to look at the big picture here, though, Sideshow, and as we compare these two teams, today on the Analyst Desk, we're going to focus in on the tanks.
Yeah, we are. And one of the reasons for that is because some of the unsung heroes of Philadelphia Fusion in their first week were Fragi and Poco, the tank duo for this team. Fragi's had a great performance on Reinhardt basically throughout his entire career, but he's started to develop this Winston over the past few months to the point where that's a really dangerous pick for him as well. Bit of a unique style, but able to pull it off very well in this kind of dive. And as we take a look at two of the stats, you'll notice actually that the guy that stands out is his partner Poco. When he was playing on D.Va, the self-destructs, it was like a fireworks show. It was absolutely unbelievable. Take your eyes and have a look at the ultimate kills per 10 minutes. He's on 2.18 kills per 10 minutes with that self-destruct. The next best player in the whole of the Overwatch League is only at 1.15. This is a crazy performance from him. He had 17 kills in one of their matches just with self-destructs.
So I'm glad you're pointing out Fragi in particular, because I do want to take a look as well at the tank line, this duo of tanks on the San Francisco Shock of Nomi and Nevix, and we got some statistics for them as well that we can bring up here today. But in particular, you'll notice a recurring theme where the off-tank players, the D.Va players, the Zarya players tend to outperform their partners in terms of damage, and Nevix is no outlier in that regard. You can see he puts out very consistent performance across the board, including one statistic I want to highlight is his deaths right there. 4.61 deaths for 10 minutes is incredibly low for a D.Va player and shows that he has the game sense to know when to go in, when to go out. Nomi, on the other hand, here's what he needs to do to really perform. He needs to get up onto the level of Fragi in this game, because it's going to be a massive challenge from him, in my eyes, in performing in the Winston and performing in the Reinhardt if they choose to peel out as well.
Yeah, Nomi's actually stats are fairly similar to Fragi's, but when you actually look inside the game, he seems to be having less of an impact. Something about the structure, he's not able to take those statistics and use them at the right moments to win his team fights. So there's been a couple of times where Nomi needs to step up and have a bit more impact in this. That's what I'm looking forward to in this match, Bucket.
For anyone who just tuned into the Watchpoint episode, Nomi, one of the best stories in the Overwatch League. He is supporting his mother as well as his sister, and he's doing it with his paycheck. We'll see if he can walk away with some big wins today as we kick off the action. We're going to Dorado, and here to bring you the games, we got Monty with Doa.
That's right, guys. We are ready to get into it with San Francisco Shock versus the Philadelphia Fusion, back for week 2 of the Overwatch League. Man, I am pumped. Both these teams coming into this 1-1. Somebody gets to be in the winning column at the end of this one.
You're absolutely right.
My analysis is always top notch. Never doubt that.
I'm looking forward to this match because we're seeing two very different play styles develop. When we've seen the Shock, they've been more conservative, perhaps too conservative, unwilling to pull the trigger at times on their strategies. Meanwhile, Philadelphia Fusion comes in with Carpe and Shadowburn playing a less coordinated style of Overwatch because they haven't had much time to practice, but it has been really aggressive.
Well, the strength of Philadelphia has been their duos, right? Their tank duos, their DPS duo, and their support duos. The roster that we're seeing start off here have really been like the roster that Philly has flourished with the most.
Yeah, absolutely. And they did pull off that surprising win against Houston last week. So we know that they have a lot of raw strength. And now we're going to see, they've been here for a few more days, have some practice. Is it going to result in some different strategies? Because Fusion has been the most successful when they've been running what we expect Shadowburn and Carpe to play. That is to say, Genji for Shadowburn and Carpe on the Tracer. Although we did see Shadowburn have some good Pharah as well, which should help them out in the third map of this series, which will be Oasis.
Well, Baby Bay versus Shadowburn should be an interesting Pharah v Pharah matchup if we end up getting that one.
I think it will probably tilt in favor of Shadowburn, but you never know.
Yeah, I mean, well, I think they're both mechanically on a similar level, but Baby Bay has those weird ults on Pharah, so I'm going to be kind of keeping an eye out for that today.
Yeah, I definitely think that he's still got some work to do on that hero, like you're saying about his weird ultimate timings. It has been a little odd, but then we have the San Francisco Shock, and we may see the Junkrat here from Dante. I think that the thing I've liked most is when Baby Bay has been able to play on the Widowmaker like we saw in the preseason, but haven't seen a whole lot of so far in the regular season, or his staples. Soldier 76, which is the hero he really became known for prior to the start of the Overwatch League. So I want to see some more poke compositions. Let's go Tracer Soldier rather than trying to fight Dive. Or if they're going to play anti-Dive, which they did in their previous match, let's see some McCree, which we are seeing now actually. Alongside Dante on the Genji, so already a bit of a mix-up.
Interesting, yeah. Baby Bay rocking that McCree as San Francisco gets their attack run started. We are going here on Dorado. The payload is moving. And one of the things I'm going to be watching for here is that D.Va on the Philadelphia side as we see Shock trying to break the high ground here. Poco got so many self-destruct kills last week. It was insane. Fraggy going down early, getting caught there by that dive from Shock. And he's a little bit too far forward to res right now. Can they keep pushing the payload, though? Now it looks like they have to back off just for a moment.
Well, they're
Pause.
I mean, they're going to be coming back. With the resurrection, it will be a 6 versus 4 on the payload. So just about stalling right now,
You know,
for Philadelphia.
when you're Zenyatta and you just drop out of the sky right in front of a McCree, it usually doesn't end well for the support player in that situation.
No, it doesn't, but pretty convincing first win, and that's been one of the issues that Philadelphia have had. Fraggy is one of the most aggressive tanks that we have in this league, does make it so sometimes he will go down first or get too far away from his supports. Now, what you like about Fraggy is he opens up a lot of space for Shadowburn and Carpe, so even though he might die in a lot of these engagements, it's about the cleanup that comes afterwards because he provides so much pressure in the front line. He's doing it right now. Look how far back he is.
Yeah, meanwhile, Dante has that Dragon Blade out, trying to take out a few defenders. Can't quite pop Poco out of the mech, though, so that's a blade he's going to want back here. Oh, and what did I just say, man? Poco self-destructs. I do not know how he keeps catching people with these.
Well, he keeps catching people like these, Doha, because Philadelphia finds themselves with a player down a lot of the time because Fraggy engages. And then the enemy team will recommit. Poco has self-destruct, throws it out after they're trying to dash towards you. They use their movement abilities to get into the rest of Philadelphia.
Sure enough.
And then they just get caught. But look
Now
at
I
this
know.
angle we're going to see too. Poco just zoom. It looks like he's heading backwards, and then he turns around and then throws it over the stalls in the marketplace, and you just can't get out of the way when you've already committed to that engagement.
He's really tricky with those, though. I mean, that takes a good awareness of, like you said, the abilities that have been used on the other side, and he's capitalized on that more than any other D.Va we've had in the league so far, I think. Shadowburn does find a kill onto Dante, so Shock stymied a little bit on their attack already. See if they can turn that around, but they're getting pushed back once more.
I mean, Fraggy just going straight in again will be a high noon. He's going to try and drop in. Can't quite get around the corner for the angle, so no value there in the Deadeye for Baby Bay. And they just have to wait right now. Baby Bay on the backside is going to find Shadowburn.
Wow, kills coming in for Shock now. Trying to win quite a bit of these fights. Sleepy pops that Transcendence to just try to stabilize a little bit as they keep pushing forward. They want to finish off this fight. Boombox, though, does get brought back up again. Nevix in the back lines. That time, Poco not getting anything with the self-destruct. And that payload's going to creep closer to point A, but what a hold so far from Philadelphia.
Yeah, Neptuno didn't get his Valkyrie until very late in that fight, so he didn't really have the opportunity to go ahead and revive the DPS. Everybody going to back off right now. San Francisco Shock will get some more time, but it's a pretty good stall there on point A in favor of the Fusion.
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, you don't expect to full hold people on Dorado too often, so I think if you're Philadelphia right now, you can feel pretty happy about how things are.
Yeah, you're also coming into point B with a big ult advantage, so even though they don't have a lot of time, they still have an opportunity to make a pretty clean push as long as they're conservative in how they use their ults.
True. There's Pulse Bomb, no kills out of that one. He did get the stick, but couldn't finish anyone off. Dante backing away now. He's done better on the positioning lately as Tracer hasn't found himself caught on his own as often.
Yeah, and he can take the duels, and that's the thing about playing against what we've seen from Philadelphia. It's a lot of dueling as Baby Bay actually will bait the Dragon Blade straight into the Deadeye, but somehow Philadelphia is still winning this one, and this is kind of a disaster, actually, for San Francisco.
Nevix is going to get delayed even more, so that's a nice staggered respawn in favor of Philly. D.Va's going to come back for San Francisco a little bit late.
Yeah, they got baited into the courthouse on the lower level, and that meant a lot of ultimates are used. Baby Bay now switching over to that Widowmaker.
And Philly took him to court, and the punishment was death.
It was death, for sure. Capital punishment.
Usually it's not carried out in the courthouse.
Well, not in most countries I'd like to visit.
I thought this was the city of brotherly love, man. Oh, Philly coming out ahead in this fight already here. Baby Bay not finding the shots he's looking for on the side, and he has to back off in a hurry.
Everybody has to fall back. They don't want to get staggered any further after the supports die instantaneously.
Whoa.
That's a nice catch there for Baby Bay.
It certainly works, yep. But they got to move forward at some point. Waving to the corpse of Carpe. He can't hear you anymore, man. He's gone.
They're going to have to wait for Carpe to come back up, so some free movement on the payload will be the result, and they're trying to recover their ults now, but Philadelphia's getting a lot more value out of ultimates.
Yeah, it's been hard to dislodge them from the high ground, too. They've still got it right now, but the payload moving underneath the bridge, so Shock has them pushing it a little bit.
Dak
Oh, but
again.
Dak taken down early. Shadowburn gets in the back lines. Taken down by Dante, but the damage is done. Losing that Mercy hurts a lot. They're going to push anyway, though, as Dante got a couple picks of himself, or on his own, rather. Sleepy came in with the Transcendence, but I don't know, is this really one you want to push right now if you're San Francisco?
I mean, they did just lose or get Neptuno, and he had the Valkyrie up. He tried to use it on the front line, or Fraggy had died next to the payload, so might be punishable, depending on if Dante can actually get a DMAC here. He will succeed with the help of Baby Bay.
Yep. Okay, so grabbing the health pack, and sneaking back around. The payload still stalled.
Yeah, Carpe is actually on a long flank right now, around the side of the team. So he's going to punish them as soon as they come back onto the payload, as soon as they get through the choke. Carpe actually tried to kill Dak right away.
Oh,
Carpe gets Baby Bay.
Yeah, Carpe making a big difference in the backlines here. Shadowburn doing his part as well, taking down Sleepy, as you can see from the kill feed. Dante has to back off, but now only 20 seconds left for San Francisco Shock.
I mean, the way that Philadelphia is playing is a bit fast and loose. They're relying on their mechanical ability. Carpe was all alone in the back line, but when he can kill Baby Bay and one-clip him like that, then it opens up all kinds of opportunities.
Nevix DMAC'd already. I think he got the ult off. No, he didn't. That's going to be a big problem, man. They don't have their diva right now. Shadowburn, there's a Dragon Blade. He can finish this round right here, right now with a couple kills. Looking for it. Doesn't really find any, though. Gets pushed back. Philadelphia still scrambling, and now Shock coming in with the kills. Maybe the reses from Neptuno will be enough, though.
Still trying to get onto the payload as best they can. Shadowburn
That's
to dash and hit with a right click. And that'll be some kills. Now it's just cleanup here on point B as Philadelphia are on their way to a stronghold.
Yeah, Nevix DMAC'd again. They took down Nomi, and that is it. So only 1 point for San Francisco Shock on the attack. Definitely not the result they were hoping for.
No, absolutely not. And they're getting punished by the way that Philadelphia plays. And honestly, Doa, the way that Philadelphia plays is not ideal for the current meta. It works against teams that are individually worse than them.
Yes.
It did not work at all against London. And you know, as we look at some of these replays, the important thing to watch for is that backline tracers right now are not the strongest. And the reason is, with Mercy in the meta, if you die in that 1v1, even if you say kill Baby Bay, if the Tracer also dies, then the Widow just gets rezzed, and then the other team has a 6 versus 5 advantage, and the other team's Mercy can't get into that backline to res the diver. So you have to be really careful not to die, which means against well-organized teams, they will punish those kind of solo flanks. So we need to see San Francisco Shock adjust. I like that they were running that McCree earlier. I think this is punishable for them. They just have to stay grouped together better and be expecting Carpe and Shadowburn.
Well, it's still winnable if you're San Francisco Shock. You've still got a chance. You can hold them before the payload gets to where it needs to for Philly, but it's not going to be easy. Philly definitely with the advantage here, and it's kind of like we talked about going into it, where we're seeing the power of those duos. The team synergy isn't there as much as it is with other teams because these guys just simply haven't practiced as much as other teams as a unit, but you've got those great role-specific duos. Carpe and Shadowburn working together, Fraggy and Poco, Boombox and Neptuno. They're kind of able to all hold their own.
Yeah, they are, and it has been that kind of duo synergy as you're talking about and their own individual ability that's been winning the maps, but it's not the best way to play right now. They're playing like they would have before this Mercy patch came around, and we need to see that adjustment for them. However, I love what we're seeing here from the Shock defense. They've identified the problem. Let's go ahead, let's get the Junkrat McCree. This is an anti-flank composition.
Right.
It's a pick comp, cut off one area with a trap, cut off another area by standing there with your flashbang off cooldown, and this is going to be great, I think, for the Shock, as long as they can execute, because it's going to force Shadowburn maybe to move over to Pharah.
Yeah, ideally you limit the effectiveness of that DPS duo on Philly, and we'll see what they can do. Payload moving a little bit for the moment, but I gotta say, I'm really liking Dante on Junkrat too. I think he showed some pretty great rounds last time out for these guys. Even though they didn't get the win, I think there's a lot of potential there for him on this hero.
Yeah, he seems less nervous than he did in the preseason and
Yeah.
working together better with his team. Shadowburn is on a long flank right now. He's coming around. He's actually just going to die to a mine.
Oops.
That's going to be a reset. But that's what you want.
Yeah.
These are the kind of punishes that Shock have to have if they're going to win this match.
Yeah, and that's the kind of punish you can get if you have that Junkrat
Yep.
that can put the traps in the right place, and if you could read those flanks, then it's hard for them to move forward with just the tanks and just the healers.
Yeah, as you can see on your screen right there, Dante's standing very far back on the points so that if Shadowburn manages to double jump his way over some of those walls, that
Yep.
he's going to get caught. So that's a good read there by Shock. And they're playing pretty far back, actually.
Oh, Dak in a little bit of trouble here, getting low, goes down, Shadowburn finishing off that one. They got to him, now Sleepy in trouble, very low health, Shadowburn, another finish. That DPS duo, man. Carpe sets him up and Shadowburn knocks him down, but Shock coming back with a couple kills of their own on the supports on the other side, so the counter dive is real. Not enough to get the payload to the end of point A.
No, it actually didn't do anything. Shock handled that great just by playing aggressively with their tank line. As soon as they realized that their supports were starting to die, Nomi and Nevix jumped onto the supports of the Fusion, took out Neptuno first, and that meant that neither side had healing, but the DPS pulling through in the back line there for the Shock. So good hold so far. Still 2 minutes left, though, in point A.
I think you raised a really good point earlier when you talked about the movement abilities used to go in. I think that made the difference in that fight. And whoa, Dante making the difference in this one with a Riptire, taking down both DPS. They are so ready for these flanks.
Honestly, this is just a fantastic read from the
Yeah.
Shock. I love the adjustment that they made we flipped from attack to defense. Again, punishing the DPS for being too far ahead. Easy Riptire, and you're still holding on to your Valkyrie here, so an opportunity just to hold for the next push at least, as long as Dak doesn't go down early.
You got to use those ults well if you're Fusion now coming in. You've got the tools to use. Dante going down early. Nice pulse bomb from Carpe. Can they get the res? They can. And Sleepy, oh, he finds the pick on the Shadowburn. That guy's so good with the Zenyatta alt fire. We've seen it so many times, and they're going to hold again. Philly still with some ultimates left, though. They've got both support ults. They've got the Dragon Blade.
Yeah, Sleepy's gonna have to use this Transcendence. At least he's very close to picking up now. Philadelphia Fusion, they got the first pick, and they knew that was gonna force the Valkyrie out of Dak. So they're playing patiently. They said, okay, we still have a minute left for this push. Go ahead, let them use the Valkyrie. This is the push they need to win on.
But they're going in as a unit here. No more fancy flanks. Now it's just trying to get in there and annihilate them. Shadowburn goes. Is it time for the Dragon Blade? No, not quite yet. Poco uses that self-destruct to just bottle up Shock. Baby Bay with a kill to Fraggy. Fraggy brought back up again. Carpe down. And now Shock getting a couple kills here. Nice Deadeye on the Fraggy. And Poco on the run. 30 seconds left for Fusion. They might have another time for another attack, but if Poco gets devec'd here, that would be disastrous. Oh, and Carpe, what are you doing up there, man? Boombox taken out. Carpe dies, and with only 20 seconds left, that is disastrous.
The Diva Stagger is going to be brutal right here.
Oh, man, yeah. There's going to be no more pushes from Fusion, man. I mean, how do you get something set up like this?
I love the way the Shock are playing again. Backing into that tiny doorway with the Transcendence as they assume they basically bait out the Dragon Blade because he thinks he's going to get a bunch of resets by hacking his way when they're all lined up, and it just doesn't happen thanks to the Trance and the Flashbang.
All right, here we go. One last desperate attack. Dante trying to end it right here, looking for the targets with that tire. Can't find it. Shadowburn did die early, though, in that brawl. Dante backing away. They've nearly got it to the end of point A, and Fraggy, that aggressive Winston, taken out again first. Nice Deadeye into Carpe again. Just pulled the trigger so fast on that ult, and a shot on a Boombox. Oh, Baby Bay on fire. A hard carry at the end, and that's going to be a win on Dorado for the San Francisco Shock.
That was very well played defensively by the Shock.
Yeah, it was.
I think they finally got the read they needed onto their opponent. The Shock struggled last week because they tried to play a variety of compositions, and it looked like they sort of had the idea of how to play them tactically, but they couldn't really execute on it.
Right.
And this time they come in with a really solid game plan against the dive, which is what you should have prepared for against Philadelphia.
Sure, I mean, that is something with Philly, is that they are fairly easy to read right now, as we do know. Carpe and Shadowburn are going to be trying to flank you. If you're ready for that, you're going to be able to take out these guys, and no surprise there. I love the self-destruct. I'm never going to get tired of watching stuff like that.
I mean, fantastic.
San Francisco up a game. We'll be back.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Omen by HP and by Intel.
My name is Nomi, and I play tank for San Francisco Shock, and I am from Tijuana, Mexico. I wouldn't even imagine that someone from Mexico will be in OWL, so it feels really good. Maybe this motivates like my Mexican family to care more about the game and just grind the game more.
Right now, that's a great shot.
I'm a go.
Nomi got the revenge kill.
That's an excellent display of skill.
Man, like my life has changed insane. It is the amount of opportunities that I have and the options and everything is just, the doors are opening, and I'm opening the doors for my sister and my mom as well. I grew up without a father, so my mom was like my father and my mother. Due to a lot of things, you know, life hits you. She lost her job, things kind of like got really difficult, and we had to make like a lot of like really hard decisions. There was this week on our lives, like 1 or 2 weeks, where like we were eating beans all day, dude, for like 2 weeks. You don't want to live like that, dude. You don't want to live like that. I had to make a decision of quitting school to start working and pretty much be like supporting my mother and my sister financially. When I told her I will need to drop my job to be able to pursue this, it was like really, really difficult. Everything that I have built is gonna be like gone if this doesn't work.
San Francisco Shock will take map number 1.
But it worked.
I'm playing on stage and like I'm fighting for a huge amount of money. My mom with all her sacrifices, her and my sister. If they need anything, they can just access it. That will never change.
Welcome back, guys. What a great story about this guy here. Nomi, of course, great Winston player for San Francisco Shock, and things are working indeed as they are one game up over Philadelphia Fusion here in our first match of week 2. That was a solid defensive effort on Dorado, wasn't it?
I thought that was actually really impressive. When we look at the way Philadelphia plays, they're not as refined as other teams yet, and they will be scary as we get closer to the playoffs, I imagine.
For sure.
But for right now, it seems like they're falling back on a lot of sort of old strategies that are difficult to keep going with in the current meta, and we'll have to see if they can pull it through on Anubis.
Yeah, I'm really curious about how this match is going to go from here on out as we approach Temple of Anubis, our assault map, because, again, we talked about that strength that Philadelphia has with those duos, that individual performance, but at the same time, San Francisco seemed to have just such a good read on them on Dorado. That's something that you'd think you could carry through to other maps, unless Philly has something that we haven't seen before, maybe.
Especially, you feel like especially on these assault maps, they can pull it off because they were successful defending sort of statically, right? They kept going back to the same choke points in order to defend, and that's all assault is you know, defending on these same static points. So I hope they go for the same style of play. They did struggle, it has to be said, a little bit on attack when they had a moving objective and they couldn't necessarily make the same play over and over again.
Sure.
But see if they pull out the Widowmaker. They did prefer the Genji and the Tracer the last time we saw San Francisco Shock play, but in the preseason it was some really nice Widowmaker that powered them through. So
it is interesting too, because it wasn't Dante on that Widowmaker, it was Baby Bay. So now if we look at the roster here, unless they make some changes, Dante is going to be the one taking out the sniper here. I wonder too if they want to include both because they're a little bit worried about Shadowburn's Genji playing into their Widowmaker. I'd be concerned if I was playing into his Genji.
Yeah, reasonable concern, although it looks like they may do something entirely different with Baby Bay on the Genji, as you're saying this time. They did play Tracer Genji last week on attack on Anubis, so going for a dive composition. Sleepy will be changing off.
Yeah, not going to stay on that Symmetra. I don't think we're going to see that hero anytime.
Running around after Shadowburn, but he's not playing the Genji. So
there we go.
Carpe on the Widowmaker, Shadowburn on
Junkrat.
The Junkrat, which we did see a little bit from him last week.
Sure, yeah.
And they're playing what's pretty standard right now with a bunch of people up on that high ground. The Mei is used, as we saw by Carpe, to boost the Orisa on top of that point. But they're going to have both DPS together on the high ground. Normally we see the Junkrat on the opposite side of the point.
Oh, Baby Bay's got to be really careful here, man. Another grenade or two would do it. There we go. Finally gets the Orb of Harmony from Sleepy.
Dante's around the backside right now. Carpe's already moved over to the far side with Neptuno, as we can see.
Yep.
So Widowmaker not going to be in the expected spot on the high ground, and that means Nevix is going to die.
Yeah.
Okay, that was actually a really nice bait. So you expect the Widowmaker to be over there with the supports, but instead both supports were on the opposite side. That was actually a bait by Philadelphia. So they wanted the tanks to engage on that high ground, and except it was just an Orisa and a Junkrat, so then you get sniped and hit from the opposite side of the point, you get hit by a trap, and Nevix dies. They're gonna know that Carpe is gonna look to change sides of the point though on their next attack. Dante is
Dante, you haven't taken point A yet, man.
He's there waiting for hoping for some reinforcements, I suppose.
One thing at a time, Dante. That's right, gonna come in from the long flank, I guess. We've seen a couple Tracers do this lately, go all the way back to point B.
He needs to stay out of those sight lines. So Shadowburn actually the one to go on the other side of the point this time with Carpe.
He's just taking way too much damage from Shadowburn's Junkrat as he comes in. And already Philly with 3 kills here going into this make it 4. This push is dead before it really even begins. Nevix getting demeched, and he is probably going to get pretty staggered too as we see Sleepy finally taken out. That's gonna be all 6.
And there's a stagger onto Nevix as well. They are just toying with him. 2 minutes left for San Francisco on this attack. But it was only Baby Bay on the flank, and there was both DPS who jumped to the other side of the point because it opened up with Shadowburn using a mine just to hop over there alongside Carpe. So this time around, they are really changing their strategy, and they're waiting for the high ground to be cleared out. But San Francisco Shock just is outnumbered on one flank or the other every time they go in.
Pretty much. Carpe looking for a few shots as he comes in here. Oh, reflected. That's a great start here. They got to bring Carpe back up. There's a res. And now Shadowburn looking for a little bit from this Riptire. Around the corner, dodging the shots. It's an agile tire, and he gets Dak. That is the best kill he could have hoped for with that ultimate. No mercy for Shock, and it's going to be hard for them to push this.
Carpe now, he's going to try and punish this because he knows Dante, so he uses that Infrasight at the end of the engagement, even though he knows they're going to reset, just to try and see if he can pick up Dante and then create an even bigger stagger.
Oh boy, he's waiting for Dak. He knows he's coming in, and Dak! Oh, that was close. One more shot, and he would have been able to eliminate him again. Carpe over to the other high ground. Nomi goes down, brought back up by Dak again in that Valk. Barely stays alive. Through the shots of Carpe, here comes the Dragon Blade now. Baby Bay gets one with the dash, waiting for it, waiting for it. Can't find any more kills, but they do have control over the point for the moment.
Shadowburn's still alive, though, on the backside. They just need to be patient here. Another Resurrection coming into Dante, and now they have the numerical advantage. That took a long, long time, though, thanks to the shifting defense of the Philadelphia Fusion.
Yeah, down to just 30 seconds left on the attack before they get this extra 4 minutes from taking point A.
Yeah, the difference with that push is San Francisco Shock finally adjusted their tanks to the opposite side of the point because they knew that Philly was trying to bait them onto the high ground where the Widow was starting. And so that time, they bait them over there, and then they get smacked around by the Shock's tank line.
Right.
So a little bit of adjustment there, but that's what they needed.
Hey, that was still a great defense. Starting out from Fusion, though. Shoot a lot of time up on the time bank. Now they're going to try to pull Fusion back a little bit. Dante being annoying. Ooh, Frankie goes in on his own. Doesn't survive very long.
Yeah, they're going to force out the Riptire.
Yeah, that's right. See what he can get out of that. No kills, though. Poco nearly
That's not good.
Nevix gets Shadowburn with that self-destruct, too. He's going to come back up in a hurry from Neptuno.
It's actually
They're gonna get more.
This is a good slow push from San Francisco. This is still definitely a winnable fight for them.
It's going pretty well so far. Gotta worry about that counter dive though. Fraggy and Carpe getting in the back lines, but Baby Bay is there. Getting that kill. Here comes the Dragon Blade now. Transcendence on the side of Fusion, so he's gonna have to wait. Tries to get in on the Mercy. Oh, the Transcendence done now, but he gets pushed back before he can make any use out of that Genji ultimate.
Yeah, San Francisco Shock need to back off right now. Their objective is complete. Their objective was force Boombox and Neptuno to use both of their ultimates. They were successful in that. They traded a Dragon Blade from Shadowburn from Baby Bay rather, for the trance from Boombox. So go ahead and reset right now.
I think the issue is that Dak used his Valkyrie as well, and we've seen historically it's been pretty easy to force those Valkyries out of Dak fairly early. They're gonna have the Transcendence, but I think they would have liked to save that Mercy ult too.
Yeah, that would be nice, but at least they're still going to be coming in with an edge. So this is a good opportunity for Shock to go ahead and close out point B.
Got something at least. Poco poked off the high ground. Got that red zone, he's deadly with it. Dante beating the deadly end of Shadowburn Shurikens. Is that how you say that? I don't know.
That's just going to shut down the push too,
yeah,
unfortunately. Right. With Shadowburn getting that pick off, the Mercy not close enough, and everybody on Philadelphia pushing forward means the Mercy's just not going to have a chance to resurrect. A lot of these advantages are now disappearing as Neptuno and Boombox reach close to their full ult status, and there's still 4 ults on the Fusion.
He's agile on this end, man. Look at that up on the high ground. Oh, maybe you don't want to be up there. Sleepy domes him with the headshot alternate fire. Zenyatta was not meant to fly that high.
Oh boy.
Burn push back.
Sleepy and Dak have ulted simultaneously though.
Again, yeah, that's right. Here comes the Dragon Blade. Maybe some kills for Shadowburn, slicing away, but nothing out of that one. This might be an advantage. They do lose Dante, though, not for long as he's brought back up again. And Philly, I think they may have found a decent amount of kills here. We'll see if they can stabilize. Yeah, they're looking okay.
Yeah, that's going to be enough, actually.
Yep.
I mean, the time bot there is going to be plenty for Philadelphia. Still 3 members alive. They're going to stagger Nevix. And
the agony of the Diva once more.
That's just another opportunity missed for the Shock.
Yep. Yeah, now they're coming into this with no support ultimates. Baby Bay swapped to the Sombra for a second, but then swapped back. Interestingly enough. Nevix has the self-destruct, but that's about it.
Okay, so they've traded off now. Dante will be on the Genji, and Baby Bay will be on the Tracer. The opposite of what we've seen them play previously.
Maybe the swap will do them good. We'll see. Philly with a couple ults to use here. As the push comes in, less than a minute now.
I don't
for
know.
San Francisco Shock.
I'm not sure I would try and play mirror dive versus Philadelphia. I don't think that's going to be a winning strategy
It's a
for you.
bold move. They do take down Fraggy early, but they're not in a position to really rush the point at this point. Fraggy's going to come back with time to spare.
Yeah, he'll be back up momentarily, spawning
There he is.
right now.
Yep. And you just have to be afraid. The Shadowburn on the flank like this. He's close to another blade. Of course, going to have it in just a second here. Watching out. Oh, reflect. Batted away. He's got the blade now. Can he get to the back lines? He's got to deal with Nomi here in the meantime. They're on the objective. Still no first tick yet. Oh, and Dak taken down. Caught out by Shadowburn. Sleepy in trouble. Pops that Transcendence. It's a last-ditch effort. They've got less than 10 seconds. And Dante with his own blade may be able to swing things, but I don't know, man. Both support's down now as Sleepy falls.
I mean, they have to survive until the Resurrect comes back, the Valkyrie comes back, and it's not going to take that long. Shadowburn still trying to use that Dragon Blade. That's going to be everybody off the point right now, and that's going to be the end of the attack from the San Francisco Shock. Only a single point.
That's right, a single point from taking point A, but crucially not a single tick from point B. They didn't really get any progress on that control meter, and so that's going to make it just that much easier for Fusion to come in and win this now.
I don't know about that. I think there were some timing windows that the Shock missed there when they had some support ult advantages. And the communication wasn't very good on their engages, and that allowed Philadelphia to continuously pick them off.
You know, that said, on Dorado, we saw kind of nearly an identical situation going into the second round, right? We saw San Francisco have a fairly lackluster attack, but then that defense was solid. So
full hold.
That's right. So we got it. They still got a chance here. They can play. I think Philadelphia Fusion is definitely one of the teams where you can play a very defensive series against them and come out on top.
Yeah, you can, but Anubis, I think, obviously, any assault map where you're talking about point A, the risk you run against the dive is that if they do get started with it and have a successful initial push, well, you're coming into a point B where they may well have a Dragon Blade and a Valkyrie already charged, and this could end really fast.
Yeah, very true. Well, we are getting started here, or getting ready to start round 2, rather, on Temple of Anubis. San Francisco Shock on the defense. Little made boost for Nomi, getting the Orisa up onto the high ground there. And then Nevic's going to be probably switching back to that Diva. Certainly not going to stay on the main.
Yeah, that's what you would assume. They are going to be playing Sleepy on the Ana this time around, so
Interesting.
Baby Bay on the Widowmaker, something we didn't get to see a lot of in the initial week of play.
You know, so the thing is, this is all just more anti-dive, isn't it, right? Because Ana just generally does better on her own versus the dive. So if you're really worried about those flanks again, I suppose it would work out.
Yeah, it also provides you with that biotic grenade when they jump onto you. So
oh, great point, yeah.
That's
very true.
Very helpful if you think their tanks are going to jump on top of you, cutting off their source of healing.
Almost certainly will. Fraggy and Poco have been known to do that from time to time.
I think we can expect it, but Carpe Shadowburn running the Junkrat and the Widowmaker on attack, and they're playing very patient. Carpe switches. Okay, so they're going to see the Widow and not try and play Widow v Widow when the barrier advantage goes over to the Orisa.
Yeah.
And that's wise, and they know they're going to have to dive now. But where's Shadowburn going to position with this is the real question. He's going far around the side.
I was going to say, he's probably going to have to take a long, well, that's not going to work out.
Yep. Yeah, it doesn't work if you get picked off like that, but still got 5 team members trying to take control of the high ground over the point.
Yeah. The reflecting going on.
It's just poking right now. Nobody's going to commit to this from the Philadelphia Fusion side.
Really got to be careful in this room, though, because the Junkrat damage can be very real.
Yes, it can be. And Baby Bay also is now very far away. He's actually getting chased down by Frag. He's out of position. Does get healed up, though, as you can see. Jumps back to the point.
Carpe. Waiting for it back up on the high ground. See if he can dislodge Nomi here. Maybe. That's a lot of damage onto this Orisa.
Attack falls, though.
Yeah, that's right. Shock getting enough kills where Philadelphia is going to be just fine. Only Carpe left, rather. And his fish is fried.
Yeah, that got a little crazy there towards the end. That could have ended very poorly with Dak dying first, but luckily salvaged by the tanks from the Shock. And now they have an opportunity. Sleepy playing very far back on the back left side of the point, as it appears when Philadelphia is attacking. And they're trying to transition now. Dante going to join 3 other members of his team on the opposite side. Only Nevix here to defend this push onto the high ground.
Bruno trying to make it through this room again, but it's going to be tough. They're going on now. There is a Dragon Blade. Can he get to the trap? He's trapped. And that Junkrat trap did wonders as it negated the Dragon Blade from Carpe. Not done yet, though, as he does take down Baby Bay. They've still got a shot here, but Philadelphia needs more. There goes Dante, taken out during his Junkrat ultimate. And now San Francisco a bit routed here.
Yeah,
that should be point A.
That was a good stop on the Dragon Blade duel, but he reflected the halt from Orisa, which caused the positional issues for the Shock. So that was actually like some crazy crowd control that came back and slammed into them right there that they weren't expecting. And that was enough of an opportunity that the Philadelphia Fusion could dive in. Now they're going to have that Transcendence. Dak will be there.
Well, now it gets really scary, too, for San Francisco, because remember, Philly only needs that first tick on the control meter to win the map. And with that Primal Rage from Fraggy, you'd think they'd have enough staying power to do that with a couple kills. That's right, Dante taken out. And here we go, just trying to get that first tick, just trying to bull rush their way in here and brute force a win. Nomi does go down, brought back up by Dak, of course. Fraggy just trying to dislodge everybody.
And Neptuno's going to res Shadowburn, so still not going to be a successful engagement. Boombox committed to Trance.
That's right.
After they saw Dak use that Valkyrie, Carpe not going to do much with the Pulse Bomb there, and that will be pretty easy hold for San Francisco. Shadowburn trying to get out with his life will be healed up by Neptuno on the retreat.
Philly put a lot into that one, but they didn't get much out of it. San Francisco able to stabilize. This is crucial, man. They need a little bit of time to get set up here. They've done just that. Shadowburn going in on Dante, you can see down the bottom.
Dante needs to be very careful. He's not one shot by Shadowburn again. He's getting too far in front of the rest of his team, and he can be bursted.
All right, here comes the Poco self-destruct. He getting kills? Yes, he does find Sleepy with it. Gets Rez, gonna get back in that mech in a hurry. They're gonna try to come in with the Dragon Blade. Shadowburn, though, does get the kill on the Baby Bay.
Shadowburn still got his own blade.
That's pretty huge. Shadowburn coming in, yeah, like you mentioned, with his own Dragon Blade to use now.
Hide for a bit. He's going to use it for people as they re-enter behind this Primal Rage.
Yeah, use the chance. Gotta watch out. The aggressive monkey, though. Trying to absorb a bit of that melee. There's the Dragon Blade coming out. Oh, but the Transcendence is up for San Francisco. Shock needs to find people on the outside of that fight or wait till it ends. Nothing with that Dragon Blade, but Dante does take down Neptuno. Shock.
Dante again. Hold. Yeah, just with the dash through and the reflect onto Sleepy. Can Shadowburn pick up enough to make this worthwhile? Not with the Mercy Resurrection.
Yeah, that Valkyrie comes in at just the right
out to
time now.
Shadowburn will be really happy with that. He forced them to use the Valkyrie.
That's right, Sleepy changing to the Moira just to get back to the point. Remember, they only need that one tick. Desperation as they've nearly got it now from San Francisco. Philly on the verge of taking this one. They had to back off for the D.Va ultimate. Now back on the point again. And it's panic mode. Dragon Blade coming out, kill on Dante already. Oh, he gets Nomi too.
15-player kill streak for Shadowburn as he is the one who's gonna save this for Philadelphia.
Make it 16, and we are all tied up. Philadelphia Fusion will win Temple of Anubis.
That was a great carry on the point there as things started to look dicey for Philadelphia. Shadowburn just manages to stay alive, get 2 Dragon Blades to close out the game.
I mean, it really was all about Shadowburn at the end there. I mean, finding those quick kills onto Dante, being a little bit more conservative with his Dragon Blade, saving until just the right moment. Of course, Carpe had some pretty sick shots as well. A lot of fun stuff to watch here as Philadelphia Fusion and San Francisco Shock all tied up 1-1.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Intel and Omen by HP. It's halftime here between the San Francisco Shock and the Philadelphia Fusion. Each team taking home a map in our first half. And here to break it all down, we've got Bren and Sideshow. Once again, I'm your host, Chris Puckett, and we're going to get right into the action, looking back at Dorado. Now, on the start, we saw it was the San Francisco Shock attacking, and what was really interesting for me, before we get to the clips here, guys, is that Dante was running a Genji. Normally, we've seen him on the Tracer consistently. This time around, they put him on the Genji. Bren, what's going through the team's head as they put that lineup together?
Yeah, so in particular, it's Baby Bear. I think he definitely has a preference towards the more hit scan heroes, the Widowmaker, the Tracer in some circumstances, but mainly McCree. Yeah, mainly the McCree's Ultra 76, those hit scan heroes. So it's quite rare for him to sort of flex over to Genji because it's mainly a preference thing. Dante is the next best fit for him.
All right, so Dante opens things up with a few early picks on that Genji, and then we see it's already Philadelphia Fusion on the back foot. One player stepped up big here, and it's the guy we highlighted in the pregame show. Poco has been so amazing with his Diva bombs. He's averaging over 2 kills per 10 minutes with it, and he starts things off here with a perfectly placed Diva bomb, Bren.
Yeah, so this is super interesting. Again, he's still the #1 player in terms of Diva bombs per 10 minutes. And you can see this kind of stuff is what the pro players practice on a regular basis. They go into these practice matches and they just go at these self-destruct bombs. They try to go for them, these set plays time and time again until they nail it. And you can clearly tell that Poco's put into practice because he's still leading the charge in terms of the stats on that one.
Yeah, and what's most impressive as well is that he's not just some bot that's lining up these self-destruct kills and he's like, execute, and off it goes. He's also got the whole package in terms of his Diva play. He's still putting out huge amounts of damage just with his general, like the micro rockets and who he's focusing. His play across the board has been good.
Yeah, on the first half of that Dorado game, he did 31% of his team's damage. To put that in context, that's something you expect from a star DPS player, not an off-tank player at all. So he just outperforms pretty much every Diva in the league at this point.
That's with Carpe and Shadowburn in the game, just for everyone at home who's following along. Let's look at our second clip here, and this was some very star Tracer play. We highlighted Carpe. This one, it's his reaction time. Dante has the Pulse Bomb loaded up. Everyone from Shock has the advantage coming into this fight, and Carpe flips it on its head. How does he do this?
Yeah, this is a really sort of high mechanic skill sort of play. There is a decent window of opportunity to do this, but it requires you to save your recall ability, and it completely dislodges the actual Pulse Bomb away from you. If you miss the timing, you're going to mess it up, and you're going to get killed anyway. So it was a nice little play that just highlights how good Carpe is on that Tracer role.
Yeah, and then he's able to go on and leverage that into, what was it, a 2K, 3K that really opened up the defense for his team. He's a very solid player.
What was really surprising was that we saw a nice stop here from Philadelphia Fusion, but they didn't win the map because on their attack, they got snuffed out. Let's switch it now to the second half of game one. Sideshow, walk us through. What did we see?
Yeah, I think that this comes down to what we were setting up in the pregame, which was that San Francisco Shock often come in with a plan. And they had a plan. They had this fantastic anti-dive strategy with the McCree and the Junkrat that they set up to counter Philadelphia Fusion. And I can take you through a telestrator with our insights by Intel and break down this play as how it happened. So here's the mini-map view of this, and you can see that it is Philadelphia Fusion on the attack here. Here's their team all piled up. And the players to watch on the dive usually are Carpe and Shadowburn, the two guys sat over here. They're going to take an angle going forwards really deep. They are very aggressive players as soon as their tanks make the space. So Poco and Fraggy with a deep dive in here. Shadowburn and Carpe are going to meet with them, and then their supports are going to push up. The question mark for San Francisco Shock has always been, how do we deal with this? And the guy to keep your focus on here is Nomi, and to a lesser extent, Nevix as well. So if we start this one going forwards, you can see that the tank lineup from Philadelphia Fusion make a very aggressive dive in here as Fraggy and Poco try and clear the space. And you can see that Nomi and Nevix have instantly responded at the top left, getting a lot of damage out, instantly kill Fraggy, and then they move forward. So it's not to say that the dive from Philadelphia Fusion didn't work, but here from Nomi's perspective, you can see he responds to the tank threat in the backline, then jumps back and they clean up both of the supports from Philadelphia Fusion. This is textbook play of how to try and stop such an aggressive dive from Philadelphia Fusion.
Just to add on to your point as well, with a quick little stat, Nomi and Nevix in that Dorado game had 3 deaths each. They were focusing on survivability, focused on peeling for their supports, and sort of the anti-dive was sort of what they were practicing. And I'm so happy to see it, to be honest, because there was always potential there. We didn't see it in the previous matches, but in that one, Nomi and Nevix did step up.
Shock coming in with a plan and executing it in map number 1. The same can be said about the Philadelphia Fusion as we head into Anubis. We're going into halftime at 1-1, so real quick, we'll run some highlights here from the second map. Let's talk about where the Shock failed and what was going right here for the Fusion, starting off with the San Francisco Shock attack. The first thing we saw, Baby Bay now running the Genji.
Yeah, and the way that they were attacking, they were expecting Philadelphia Fusion, as Monty said, to be set up on the left-hand side. They kind of gave him the jukes a little bit. There was sniper shots coming out from Carpe on the opposite side, and at that point, the ultimate advantage swings in favor of Fusion before you've even got a chance to really cement your position. And so Fusion were given the advantage right from the off.
Brent, we are pointing out the support ultimates. For anyone who is new at home, when we say that the Shock had doubled up on support ultimates for their final push and it failed, what does that mean?
Yeah, so essentially you never want to be using 2 support ultimates at the same time. You want to be spreading them out so you get maximum efficiency out of the maximum value. And San Francisco Shock, that was actually the biggest question mark for me, was the fact that they were overlapping them. They were using both of them at once, basically lessening the effectiveness that you're going to get out of them overall. And it's surprising to see because we haven't seen the supports really be making these mistakes in the previous matches. We were highlighting the tank play was a little bit lackluster before, but now that Nomi and Nevix have stepped up, that's what they need to be working on coming into these later games.
Philadelphia Fusion was able to walk away with the win on Anubis. Who do you credit the most? Who helped get the job done?
Carpe, for sure. On the Widowmaker, they set up a nice little cross-section on the first map. The positioning was also keeping them mixed up. They never really knew where he was coming from.
Sideshow moving forward. We got 2 more maps. The third one is going to be a control point. What's the official Sideshow prediction moving forward? How does the second half play out?
I think it's Philadelphia Fusion are favored on both of these final 2 maps. I think we're going to see Shadowburn step up big, either on the Genji or on the Pharah on Oasis. Fantastic maps for him, and moving forward, he's got a great dive on Numbani.
Yeah, so Shadowburn in particular, look at these statistics in general. His hero damage done, the weapon accuracy, but really highlight those eliminations and deaths. Again, prioritizing the survivability. It's a key sort of factor that you need coming into these games, and he turned up significantly on that Anubis map.
All right, Sideshow, you went ahead and you called the Fusion for the second half. Bren, I want to ask you this one. If it's not going to be the Fusion, if the Shock walks away with the victory, who helps them get it started as we go into Oasis?
I feel like it's going to be the support stack in particular. If he starts performing a lot better now, that's going to throw Fusion off tempo a little bit because he was the weak link in the previous map that they just played. If he steps it up now, Fusion are going to be having a run for their money.
That's going to wrap it up for our halftime show. When we come back, we got Oasis, a big game 3 this series. It's still tied up. Don't go anywhere. We'll see who takes the lead here in the second week of the regular season. The Overwatch League is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. they have a very talented lineup. How much talent is on this team?
There goes Nevix.
Gaining some more progress.
That's a duel I've been loving to watch.
So a fantastic start for Philadelphia.
Ooh, Nevix comes in.
What a spectacle, man.
Wow, Baby Bay has just been on fire.
This is good tide for the first showing of the Philly boys.
Hey guys, we are back here. San Francisco Shock, Philadelphia Fusion, all tied up 1-1 as we look forward to our control map Oasis. Next up, these two teams.
Yeah, that's right. And I think that, as the desk said, this is going to be probably a pretty big advantage for the Fusion, because we've seen what Shadowburn can do with Pharah. This is a very Pharah-focused map. And I haven't been that confident in Baby Bay's ability to play that hero. So have they come up with another strategy? I don't know.
Baby Bay, I think, has had some fantastic mechanical plays on Pharah, but the big thing that stands out, and we've talked about this before, is that his ultimates are too early, they're in weird positions. He kind of tends to go for these very optimistic ultimates, we'll say, to be kind of nice. So yeah, I agree. I think in the battle of Pharah versus Pharah, I think Shadowburn's going to come out on top.
I mean, Shadowburn also played an incredible Pharah when we saw them on Oasis against Houston. Really did shut Jake down. And another factor that comes into this second half is that the Shock have not played Oasis or Eichenwald yet. So these are going to be new maps for them playing in this season, or this stage rather, of Overwatch League. So they may not be quite as practiced.
Quite possible. And we are getting things started here on City Center, we know, because we've got more monitors than you do. Ha ha. That's right. But you've got a nice big one in front, don't you? That is a nice monitor out there. I'd watch the game on that. I have watched games on that, in fact.
Well, you don't even know what they have, though. But it's very nice of you to compliment the taste of our viewers.
I do. Well, I mean, I know it's on our stage. I know it's here in the Blizzard Esports Arena in Burbank, California, Monte Cristo.
It is beautiful. It is beautiful.
That's right. You guys should come and check that out. Doesn't matter what you're watching it on, though. Overwatch League is always hype, even if it's on like a tiny Dick Tracy watch.
Be hard to watch on like an Apple Watch or something like that. Anyway.
That's right. Here we go. Philadelphia Fusion rolling out here. San Francisco Shock on the other side. As I mentioned, this is City Center. And Shadowburn on that Pharah. Baby Bay trying to counter a bit on the McCree.
All right, so now we get to look for some jump pad Deadeyes, my favorite play.
I love it.
On Oasis, if they choose to go that route. This is a long flank, actually, by the Shock, and they will strike first with Sleepy managing to pick off Neptuno and enforce Boombox with the early resurrection.
Yep.
Well, a nice bait actually gets Boombox during the res.
Yeah, that's going to be a problem. Baby Bay with the pick there. Shadowburn looking for the shot. Oh, but Sleepy is right there, man. Didn't have a lot of health. Only took one orb of destruction to visit destruction upon Shadowburn.
And that's the play you need, right? We have seen Shadowburn is actually just going to go for the Genji right now. Wants to get in the face of the McCree instead.
I like it.
And, you know, we see Neptuno on the Lucio, and Boombox usually playing the Zenyatta on this roster. Now on the Mercy, so pretty big switch up when it comes to that support line. And San Francisco now trying to poke around, not going to hit the flashbang.
Yeah, but Carpe is not going to hit his pulse bomb either, so abilities used, not benefiting much, but Baby Bay hitting the regular shots onto Shadowburn, that Genji down. So Shadowburn not really finding much traction at all with either hero yet.
Baby Bay really popping off here on the McCree, and he's not even giving any room for Boombox to get the resurrection. I mean, they won the first fight because Boombox was resurrecting in a place that was too dangerous and ended up getting eliminated. However, they will be coming in, both the Valkyrie and the Sound Barrier, but they're going to have to play into 5 ults from the Shock.
Yeah, Baby Bay playing really aggressively to kind of camp the spawn a bit. That's because you got Boombox on the Mercy. I don't think you do that if Boombox is on the Zenyatta. A little bit more dangerous situation here. Philadelphia coming in again. Baby Bay dies early. They dove right on him. Dak brings him back. But have Fusion found the angle they need to take this fight? Pulse Bomb goes in, does some damage, but doesn't get the kills. And there's a Deadeye. Boombox picked out of the air as Nomi tries to throw back Neptuno a bit on this Lucio. Got him low enough. Time to get back to the point here, and Shock will hold.
And they're just throwing everything they had into that last fight, though. 5 ults used by the Shock, but they hold strong here. 57% of the way in, and a late kill onto Poco as the D.Va does get staggered.
Now, want to take himself out of the action, get back to his team faster. Up to 70% now for San Francisco Shock.
I really like it when we've seen Shock play the pick compositions in this series. He's punishing the out-of-position members of the Philadelphia Fusion very nicely with that flashbang, and Boombox looking really uncomfortable. They can't.
Oh, reflected! That flashbang came right back at Baby Bay. Not finding any kills with that Deadeye. Shadowburn is right there, though. Gets bounced by Nomi, and Poco back again with the 2K on the D.Va ultimate. He finds it. Carpe following it up with another kill or two. Philly with a real chance to flip the point here.
Yeah, finally they're going to get it back, but it will be at 99%. So Fusion going to have to run it all the way back from 99 to 0 to take this map.
It's not going to be easy. You're going to need some pretty epic defense to hold this one. It's possible, but it's tough.
Yeah, they're looking at trying to take this high ground now. Poking out safely from behind the barrier. Shadowburn has his ultimate available, so he's going to be going around and flanking. Dante's poking him. He gets down to 5 and will die, punished by Nomi.
Yeah, that's right. He was winning a lot of those duels against Dante last map, but not this time around. Neptuno brings him back anyway. Fraggy dies again. Neptuno having to pop that Valk just to keep his team up, and now Shadowburn, he wants to swing this in Philly's way. And he'll get some help doing just that. Baby Bay Rez taken out again immediately by Shadowburn. That's going to be a hold from Philadelphia Fusion.
Dak used the Valkyrie too early in that fight. He should have saved it towards the end because Philadelphia got a lot more value out of their Valkyrie, double resurrections to start things off, and Dak never had an opportunity to resurrect his own teammates after Shadowburn countered and came in with the Dragon Blade.
Well, he got into that situation where you're rezzing them right in front of the enemy team.
Yeah,
At that point, you might as well not even do it. They're dead, you know?
Right, but that's the advantage that you can have in using that Valkyrie first sometimes. You get back to full strength and you push on top of your enemy's bodies and they can't get the necessary resurrections.
That's the thing. Carpe throws in the pulse bomb. That's going to be a DMAC on the Nevix here. He's going to pop that self-destruct. Dante taken down, though. Now we've got the Transcendence for Philly. As Shock comes in earnest, Dante gets rezzed again. No high noon connecting for Baby Bay. Carpe on the outside looking for that kill on the Dak. There's a Transcendence. Going to be hard to do damage through that Zenyatta ultimate. Oh, and Baby Bay turns around for the sick headshot on the Carpe. They got a chance. San Francisco Shock, they're trying to flip it right now. It looks like they will do just that. And with OT ticking away, did they take the round? Not quite yet, but they may get it soon.
Fraggy's still in the back line right now. Doesn't have that Primal Rage, so he has to leap off. And nobody's going to get there in time. Carpe maybe just barely, no.
Oh, he couldn't quite get there. You know, I got to say, that was a win on the round for San Francisco Shock, but Philly did a great job. They actually brought it back to 94% on their side, so that one actually ended up being pretty close.
Yeah, it did, but I think, unfortunately, for the Shock, it was closer than they would have liked. We don't see very many close matches like that on City Center.
Right.
Gardens, obviously, a very different scenario where we always see 99-99s.
Gardens is just a place where you kind of plan on having it be 99-99 before anybody takes it.
But yeah, Shock there, I think, coming undone towards the end and needing a few more pushes than they would have liked to go ahead and take that point.
That's right. Here we go again, and we are indeed on Gardens here. Going to be Pharahs on both sides. Now the matchup that we were talking about earlier, Baby Bay versus Shadowburn, Pharah v Pharah. We've said Shadowburn should have the edge coming into this one on a 1v1 level.
I mean, Shadowburn is such an excellent counter Pharah.
And again, that was an air-to-air shot already from Baby Bay. Trying to get some damage in onto Poco in the meantime, though. Ooh, getting close. Baby Bay has to take an exit out of the fight.
There's the first kill. Going to be wiped up immediately. Sleepy will be going down. So Philadelphia Fusion taking an early cap here on Gardens. They're going to go ahead and send their Mercy back down to Earth to go ahead and make sure they build up that control percent all the way. Baby Bay in range is taken down.
Is that Widowmaker? I could have sworn he's playing Pharah here, but I mean, maybe my eyes are deceiving me.
Just dropping straight into the rocket. That was quite a lucky, honestly, air-to-air hit.
Well, it's going to pull a res out of Sleepy, unfortunately for Shock, so they're going to be without that ability for a little while coming into this push.
Carpe low, though, doesn't quite manage to go down, but no real progress here made onto the point itself. Nevix and Dante will be trying to dive into the back lines, but they're going to get collapsed on. Nevix will get DMAC'd.
Yeah, split off from the rest of the team there, taken down easily. Dante dies to Carpe as well. Already short-handed. Our Shock Shadowburn has to exit. Couple reses coming in from Sleepy on that Mercy now. Maybe they can turn this one around. Babybay does get the kill on the Shadowburn, gets brought back up again. There's the sound barrier from Neptuno, trying to keep his team alive here.
That's going to do enough. Philadelphia is going to hold on to this eventually. They've got to get Nomi down.
There we go. I gotta say, for the most part, with one exception earlier in the round, I think Fraggy's been playing a very measured Winston on this one. Not going quite as ham as he usually does, aside from that very first push where he went down maybe a little bit too far.
Well, that time at least they responded to the dive from Nevix and Dante into their back line and made sure to take them down first, force the earlier Valkyrie. And
it also forced Sleepy to get a lot closer than he would have preferred too on that Mercy.
they're trying to jump in onto Neptuno right now.
We'll see if it works out. Fraggy does get the kill on the Dak. Good start for Philly already here.
Sleepy's
yep, he's no chance getting out of that one. We end up right in front of the Pharah. Now it's just air to air, straight up. Babybay, one hit, gets the health pack, make it 2 hits. A third one will do it now for Shadowburn. Trying to find it, chasing him down. He's got the wall for splash damage, and that is it. Shadowburn wins a 1v1, and now we're up to nearly 99% for Philly already.
And you look at how well Shadowburn mind games the far opponent in that situation.
Yeah.
He knows he has to come back either towards the ground or leap directly up in order to continue that fight. And he just waits him out. Just good patience there for the elimination.
Well, also you're moving away from the map to force his opponent towards the wall to make it easier to hit with the rocket splash damage. And it's things like that that help Philly do what not many teams can do and get 100-0 here on this round and get the 2-0 on this map.
Convincing. I think that you don't take the Pharah battles unless you have...
Oh, I'm sorry, it's 1-1.
An equally spectacular Pharah on your team. And now we're going to go into University to decide who takes this map. And this is an opportunity to see some new heroes. Usually Pharah not going to be played here. A lot of tanks and crowd control will be the name of the game because you have a very narrow choke point coming in. So things like Earthshatter from Reinhardt, things like Graviton Surge from Zarya, more effective here than they are on many other maps currently in Overwatch.
Yeah, Oasis is fun. I do like the variety of strategies you see between the different points. Gardens can be a bit long sometimes, but I do love University.
Yeah, triple tank for both players too. Sleepy will be going with a Moira, so they're going to try and group up on some of these choke points to get value out of those orbs right away. And Babybay just finds Neptuno and Boombox.
Wow, sometimes that happens. You just walk up, kill both supports. Shock storming ahead here. Shadowburn kind of on his own. There's no healing. There was no healing for Fusion in that fight. Makes it a pretty easy win for Shock early on.
This is a death ball walking around.
They gotta take the point though.
Yeah, they do.
There we go. Yeah.
Get onto the point, and finally
does help.
They will go ahead and capture it. But you'll notice they went through the smaller choke point to take advantage of Moira right there. Looped around the side, and Babybay just gets onto both supports instantaneously. Poco's gonna get hooked in and demeched.
Yeah, Babybay taken down by Carpe here. Sleepy couldn't quite keep him up. That said, without the D.Va can be challenging here. And Carpe storming back though. Fraggy does fall, but Sleepy maybe with that Coalescence. Yeah, gonna try to keep Nomi up with that one. A little bit of damage to Carpe on the outside here, but mostly healing coming out of that Moira ultimate right now. Pretty good AoE stuff right there, but there's Zero Shatter coming in for Fraggy. Gets the charge. Deadeye takes down Nomi before the charge completes though. Oh, nice right clicks coming out of Nevix though, and he's gonna drop the whole hog Shadowburn. Not killed though, as Carpe is going to come in from the side, and Carpe has really been the hero of this fight, kind of quietly. Stayed on the outside, did a lot of damage, nobody really paid attention to him.
No, and they just sat there and did damage until they pushed them out of the point. So very patient play on Nomi's Reinhardt to drop his barrier, and then trying to play from both flanks and just eventually wait out the Coalescence. So. They're gonna have to re-engage right now. Shadowburn with the Graviton Surge. Dante nearly there with one of his own.
There we go. It's CC time. Fraggy just swinging through. Oh, Poco! Gotta catch them all. Poco, man.
Wow, that's terrible, Doa. But
sorry,
what wasn't terrible was that bigger bang.
He didn't even catch all of them, really. It was only 4, but still. Poco, man. These self-destructs are just top tier, man. Tier 1 D.Va play.
Yeah, that was great. Setting it up with his teammates, and so get that big wipe that they need to continue taking the lead here when it comes to control percent.
He's gonna get demeched pretty easily here. No, actually, it's like for the moment here, does get demeched eventually. Carpe coming in from the outside. There's a CC on the San Francisco Shock side. He's gonna capitalize on that a little bit. hunting down Nevix, gets a little bit of healing from the breather here, but once more, Carpe, they just don't seem to be able to engage on him. They're gonna send Baby Bay now. Can they make it work? No, Baby Bay, looking at the kill feed, Carpe just kills him too.
Yeah, late Valkyrie from the Philadelphia Fusion may not have been necessary to take that last fight.
Yeah.
We're going to see some changes though. Dak and Sleepy now back on the Mercy and the Zenyatta, but they're not going to have much time to start building up those ultimates. They'll know Neptuno doesn't have one either, however, but trying to win this game with just a whole hog is going to be challenging.
True enough. Craigie, move back a little bit. It's high noon, Carpe.
Just about zoning right now by that time, and he's going to find one. No, he peeks.
Wow, he peeked and he didn't have a shield at the time. That's a problem. Dak using the res there. Carpe taken down on the outside by Dante. A chance for San Francisco to bring this one back, maybe. Nevix low. Nevix taken down, though. That's going to be a problem. They're without one of their tanks. Now they're without both of their tanks. And Philadelphia should be able to hold this one, I think. Yeah, Transcendence is going to do them a world of good. And as OT ticks away, they can take down Sleepy. That's about it. They can. So Philadelphia Fusion will win Oasis 2-1.
Now, people forget about Shadowburn Zarya sometimes. He can pull it out and be effective when he's needed. Some nice teamwork on the ultimate combos, and we get that impressive bigger bang, of course, the Graviton into the self-destruct to really help push Philadelphia Fusion over the top on Oasis.
We call it the bigger bang when you get that Zarya Diva ultimate combo, and it doesn't get much bigger than this right here. 4 out of that one for Poco, and he continues to deliver on the Diva. 2-1 for Philly. See you in map 4.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Omen by HP and by Intel.
During halftime, our wonderful Des discussed why we saw Baby Bay on that Tracer role on Anubis. So, of course, this is something we're not usually seeing. We're more used to him on McCree, Social 76, or Widowmaker. Now, of course, I headed to their dugout and talked to the coaches right during halftime about why they actually put him on Tracer. And they told me that they feel on Anubis, for that point B, they really need those strong Dragon Blades. Having Dante in the team being their best Genji player, they felt like it's important to have him on the Genji. And Tracer's job for that point is very straightforward. Get into the backlines, get those kills. And they felt that even though Baby Bay doesn't really play Tracer that much, that's still very straightforward, and he can absolutely do that. Now let's see if Shock can tie it back up in at map number 4 on Eichenwalde. So for all the action, once more, heading back to Doha and Monte Cristo.
Thank you, Zoe, and we have got no substitutions again as we go into map 4 here between San Francisco Shock and Philadelphia Fusion. There's a chance San Francisco can tie this one up as we go into Eichenwalde. Do you think they can do it?
I think it may be tough for them, but then again, they did take out the first escort map here, so a possibility in a similar style of map, and with the solid defense, with the full hold, it may be able to happen again.
I think it comes down to, you know, what we've been kind of seeing this whole match, right? Can San Francisco out-defend Philadelphia Fusion? Because when it looks like we have those one-on-one matchups, especially on that control map we just saw, it really seems like Fusion just can straight up out-duel San Francisco. So I think you just got to get trickier. I think you have to set up an unbreakable defense, and Eichenwalde is one of those maps you can hold on point A.
It's also a map Shadowburn can play Pharah on attack on, and
very
you
true.
can sort of poke them until you find a flaw in their defense and then have your tanks run in. So I think I'm less optimistic about this map in particular. It was interesting, though, to hear Zoe's point about having talked to the coaches to hear why they wanted to play Dante on the Genji. And it does make sense if we think back to that map, that in order to close things out, a lot of times you need a multi-kill Dragon Blade on an attack in order just to clear out the point, and then you can stagger them effectively to deal with them one by one as the respawns come in.
True. Here we go. Eichenwalde, Philadelphia Fusion on the defense, San Francisco Shock on the offense. Their offensive rounds in both Escort and Assault earlier in the series were not that great. We'll see if maybe they can put together something a little bit more convincing here. On Eichenwalde, looks like some resetting going on from Philadelphia Fusion.
They basically just chose a bunch of random heroes and then jumped into the pit.
Why not?
In front of the castle. It's a little bit of fun before the game begins, and it looks like we're going to be seeing Shadowburn play the Zarya. So this should be a forward defense, looking like they want to play the choke point right now with the Zarya and the Reinhardt, maximize the damage caused by the Earthshatter and the Graviton. And, you know, after you play, this might be a response to how they played the University at Oasis, because they looked like they were pretty confident in playing around the big crowd control ultimates, and I think they may have found a weakness here.
Could see that.
The Shock, on the other hand, will be playing the Pharah on attack, and Carpe will have to be doing some work on the McCree. Nobody else really besides him and Boombox going to be able to handle the Pharah.
Baby Bay's gonna have to be careful to stay out of range of Carpe here. Neptuno a little bit low, yeah. Yikes, kind of scary here. Baby Bay raining some damage from above at least. Ooh, and Fraggy drops early. That's gonna be the go button for San Francisco as they try to take point A here. Dante with a couple.
He just punished the Mercy incredibly hard in the back line. So poke into the finishers here from Dante on the Tracer, working out well as Fusion really didn't have much to work with this composition. They sort of just got backed up into that little house and slowly pushed in by the Shock. So good patience from San Francisco here, and that's one of the most effective attacks we've seen from them so far in the Overwatch League.
Yeah, and this is exactly what we said they needed, right? They needed a strong offensive showing on one of these maps, because so far they've been just trying to defend in kind of rough situations in the maps today. This is a good start, though. A lot of time coming into the escort phase of this map.
Yeah, there are going to be adjustments, though, especially from the Fusion, as we see Shadowburn go back to the Genji, Carpe go back to the Widowmaker.
Yep.
Long range and long sight lines here on point B of Eichenwalde for the Widowmaker to work with. And Shadowburn has punished some of Dante's mispositions. And you have to take Shadowburn very seriously, because he's one of the better Genjis at one-comboing somebody.
Right.
And Dante's died a couple of times. He's going to die to Carpe, who's been damage boosted by the Mercy right now.
Nevix to the rescue there. Tried to save Baby Bay Bay ended up getting demeched, and Baby Bay died anyway, so this push for San Francisco should be over. Yeah, right about now, they chase Nomi off of the payload, and he gets away with his life, but barely.
Yeah, this is where Baby Bay switches. Having use the barrage, go ahead and make your change after this. He's gonna try and take that Widowmaker duel. He's gonna find Boombox, but Shadowburn will take him out in kind, so looks like we probably will see a couple of resurrections here.
Rough day to be Zenyatta right now on Eichenwald. Shadowburn does die somehow, some way. It looks like he
fell into the pit.
I was gonna say, fell into the pit here. Ooh, Carpe gets the counter snipe onto Baby Bay. Dak brings him up. Oh, and then Dak goes down.
Oh,
Carpe ready. Carpe totally going wild on this Widowmaker right now.
Oh, it looked like San Francisco had such a good opportunity, but Carpe is just going to get all of the headshots, not that one. Oh, he can't finish it off. Defense Matrix there to try and help.
Oh, there we go.
Baby Bay.
The menace has finally been dealt with. Oh, not for long though, as Neptuno brings in the res, of course, on that Mercy. Poco taking it back to the high ground, trying to hold off the enemy on the ramparts.
Now they are going to be moving the payload just a little bit here as Fraggy once again goes down to start the fight.
He dies early in a lot of these fights. And now Dante just hunting Carpe down. They don't want a repeat of what happened a few seconds ago here with that Widowmaker.
Yeah, that's one of those plays that you want back if you're the Philadelphia Fusion. The fact that you used the Valkyrie to res Carpe when he was all the way forward from his spawn forced everyone else out of position too far forward, and it was easy for the Shock to punish. So they'll be happy with the Fusion losing the Valkyrie in that way, and the cart has been unopposed for the entirety of that last engagement.
Here comes the last defense for Billy, just lobbing the pulse bomb down there. I think he got eaten though. Didn't end up working out. Yep, that's right. Self-destruct comes in. Neptuno. Dante trying to take him out as he flies towards the fight. Transcendence gonna help out a little bit as Boombox drops that ultimate. Here comes the Dragon Blade again. Baby Bay looking for more shots, trying to take out Shadowburn, but he can't quite get the angle. Doing a little bit of damage, but it's not enough. Fraggy going down. Did I say not enough? That was right before he hit 2 headshots in a row, but you know what, guys, at the end of the day, so may not be enough.
I mean, Baby Bay is killing them, but there's nobody left on the payload to actually continue moving it, and Poco just dodging back and forth and using some of that nice D.Va movement, but still gets D-Mech. So there's the big win now. Now that you get the D.Va mech out of mech, this is where you want to be when the rest of your teammates come in to try and contest this.
That's right. Now the kills are going to be a bit more
Shadowburn is on a mission to kill this Widowmaker. He's going to show up right now and goodbye.
It's a successful mission, as it often is with Shadowburn. Back to the fight right now, going after Sleepy now. Oh, did he just fall in? Can he get out?
He went to the lower room.
That's right. Okay, he's okay.
He did survive.
He's a ninja. Sometimes his movements are so slippery and confusing. Pulse bomb delivered by Dante. There's the D-Mech onto Poco. They've nearly got it to point B. Less than a meter remaining. Billy just trying to hold. There goes Dante, goes down again. Nevix pops that self-destruct, won't get back in the mech again. They do take down Neptuno with the D.Va ultimate though.
Shadowburn has pulled the Dragon Blade, but he can't actually get up to Baby Bay, who came back in, trying to use that grappling hook to evade the ninja. So Sleepy now buying some time on the point. He will survive that self-destruct. Let's get pushed way back.
Sleepy was basically Rambo Zenyatta for a second there, trying to kill those last couple tanks, but couldn't get both of them. Baby Bay with a nice shot onto Shadowburn. That's going to help the next push for San Francisco. Still about a meter to go here in Point B. They haven't quite taken it yet.
Carpe with the swap off on the Tracer. And he does take out Dak, so
that'll do
both Mercies down, but the payload still manages to make its way finally into the third and final point of Eichenwald.
A pretty good hold by Fusion there. They used a lot of time off of San Francisco's clock.
This is usually a time where we see teams switch over to the Reinhardt and the Zarya as a result of these enclosed spaces, both on attack and defense, but each team just sticking with their chosen composition, except for Baby Bay, who wants to go onto the McCree.
That's right. He's dealing with quite a bit. Baby Bay pretty happy about that McCree swap at this point. He's got 2 kills already with that hero. Make it 3 as he finds Carpe as well. Now on board with Baby Bay as we see him try to handle these respawns. Shock getting really close now, despite that point B stall to finishing this one.
I think you have to be so happy if you're a San Francisco fan with the way McCree has been played by the Shock. It has been the biggest weakness here for the Fusion. We'll stop that Angry Monkey temporarily, and he's gonna try and get it. No, can't. Quite turn around with the Deadeye.
It gets res anyway, he's just fine. The Cowboy comes back. Needs a couple more kills. There we go. One on to Carpe. That payload just 1.5 meters away from finishing here. Carpe resurrected. Baby Bay having to run frag. He's on top of him with the Winston. Shadowburn finds the kill onto Dante, slashing away at Nevix, who has to retreat from the fight here. But Shadowburn taken down by Sleepy. San Francisco with a big opportunity here. Can they finish it? Poco with 2 more kills on the D.Va ult. You got him in a good spot to hit him with that self-destruct. And Carpe again with that pulse bomb, and between that and what Poco accomplished, that's going to be a hold for now.
And they need to get Baby Bay before he can rejoin his team, and they know that. Going to try and punish him. Can he escape? 20 HP, 0 HP, 34 seconds remaining.
Oh, that's devastating, man. 30 seconds, and they're only going to have one more push now if they wait for Baby Bay, which they have to.
It's an optimistic push to Dante, unless he can make the mega play with the pulse bomb. Going to be really stretching it to push it all the way through to the end of point C, but they've made some good progress on this map regardless.
Well, both support ultimates for Philly nearly there as well. Baby Bay, a last-second switch onto the Junkrat as they come in with a bit of desperation here.
Looking over at Poco right now, trying to back off and play conservatively.
They're on the point. Full support ultimates available for Fusion. That's a big advantage here. Sleepy pops his. Transcendence now for Shock as they try to push forward. Nevix gets the kill on the Shadowburn. Good start. Valkyrie used by Neptuno. Can he bring it back? He's in an awkward spot to res, and Nevix just waiting for a chance to use that self-destruct here. There are the reses from Fusion. Nevix finding Fraggy. That's one tank down. Shadowburn coming back with a big kill here, but that payload is moving forward. We're into OT. San Francisco get the kills they need.
And they're all over this payload. It's just Neptuno remaining.
Neptuno. That should be it. They finish. So in overtime, San Francisco Shock will complete their attack round. 3 points, well taken.
Yeah, especially at the end. That Junkrat actually proved incredibly useful and pivotal in that final push. Both of the DPS, Carpe and Shadowburn from the Fusion, fell early in the fight, and that meant both Resurrects had to be used. They couldn't bring up any of the tanks for stalling later on the payload.
So finally, after a bit of a struggle in map 1 and map 2, San Francisco has a good attack round. I mean, yeah, they finished in overtime, but they did finish. And Eichenwald can really be one that is challenging to complete in point C.
Yeah, and if they do end up winning this map and we go to Lijiang Tower, which is our tiebreaker, San Francisco is going to be much happier with that than having to play Oasis because it's a less Pharah-focused map.
Yeah.
And there's a lot more opportunities to play those style of Junkrat and McCree compositions that have been favorably working out against Philadelphia.
Yeah, I mean, you think about Lijiang Tower, you've got Night Market, you've got Control Center, both of those points really great for the Junkrat. You only need to really be worried about the Pharah on Garden there.
Yeah.
Let's check out the last couple moments of that last round here. Poco again.
Both supports.
He's really good at finding those picks, isn't he?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how long he can keep up his top-tier self-destructs per 10 minutes that we've seen from him, nearly doubling the next highest in Overwatch League, but small sample size. However, he certainly has gotten his fair share today.
It's really crazy. He almost reminds me of Mickey back in like the end of Apex Season 1, Apex Season 2, with those self-destructs he was able to put together on Envious when they were out in Korea. Poco having a bit of a self-destruct renaissance.
Is this the renaissance of self-destruct led by Poco?
That was the name of my punk band in high school too, actually.
The Renaissance. That's a great name for a band.
It is, isn't it? You're welcome. You can name your band that, Monty.
Well, I'd be taking your high school band name then. So.
Well, that's okay.
I'll come up with my own things.
I will endorse it though. I won't charge you for that.
All right, we are going to see the Orisa on the defense and back to the Junkrat and the McCree. So they're going to play far back right now. Shadowburn also will be attacking on the Pharah like we saw from the Shock in the first round of Eichenwald.
Pretty similar attack here. Counting on Baby Bay to get those hits on the McCree. He needs to. Shadowburn looping around the outside now as the rest of the team dies in. Boombox does fall early though. Baby Bay, taken out by Shadowburn. Crucial kill here.
And with Carpe killing Dak right afterwards, no way to get Baby Bay back up. So, patient, poking attack again. Seen similar strategies from these teams on their point A attack. It has been successful. Now everybody bottled back up in there for some nice rocket hits from Shadowburn. Wants to deal with Sleepy once and for all. He's behind the pillar. He manages to live. And no, okay, Shadowburn.
That was a splash damage extravaganza.
Sleepy really caught between a pillar and a hard place.
Too much. Killer in a rocket place.
Yeah, rocket place, that's true.
Don't want to be in that place. Philly getting the kills they need. I can fly! No, you can die. Sleepy taking out the end of that. Philadelphia Fusion will move the payload.
Both teams successful on their initial push on Eichenwald, and that will leave plenty of time for Philadelphia to move it through point 2. They do have the Valkyrie, considering how early Dak died in that last fight. He will still be working his way up to his, and there's not going to be any change so far from the composition. Now, what we're going to see is usually the Junkrat plays inside the castle if possible, just so they have a chance to use the cut off that route there as we, as we see Carpe going to fall to the trap.
Yep, triggered. Here comes the tire. Whoa! Taking a crazy route there. Finally gets the kill on the Fraggy. Dangerous fire.
Yeah, I was hoping to find Neptuno there, but Neptuno scattered away before the tire could make it over all the way to him.
Okay.
So now Nevix taking a position right on top of the payload and will be playing around this control point. Boombox actually snipes Baby Bay to start things off.
You can never forget that Boombox is quite the duelist himself here. Dak using that res to bring him back and coming in. And Poco again! Another 2K with the self-destruct. This guy, I mean, I swear he's got to have the most kill-efficient self-destruct I've ever seen.
It's very impressive what he's able to do with that. And every time we see it, we think, how is he finding these timings? How is he seeing these windows?
Well, it's like we talked about early. He's just so good at reading the ability usage of the enemies and knowing the tricky angles to throw it in. Let's see where that one came from now if we can.
I mean, what he's doing every time. So sometimes he's faking them out. He's turning around with his dash and then sort of flicking it at the last second so they don't think it's coming in. That time he just rams it into a wall so it pops up and explodes nearly immediately. But his knowledge of where he can do that, where he can slide the mech around corners on these maps is extraordinary.
Oh, get ready for some boops. Fraggy desperately trying to knock people off the map, but he can't quite do it. Nomi does get the kill on the Boombox, so who's res immediately, of course. And that payload continuing to float forward here. Shock looking for one last ditch defense.
Trying to make it all the way over there. Nomi deep in the back lines. They have to be careful on this bridge, but he will get out of the Primal Rage in time. And now they're just going to push forward.
Transcendence time. Dragon Blade for Nevix too. Shadowburn paving the way for this payload. There we go. That's going to be point B for Philadelphia Fusion. A little over 4 minutes in the time bank as we go to point C.
This is getting dangerous too, with a large time bank and the fact that we've seen both teams' attacks go so well on the first point of Eichenwald means Philadelphia Fusion may be set up for a pretty easy win if we head into that time bank stage. Baby Bay will make a change to the Junkrat. So
that's a wise change too. The Junkrat, very effective already, as you can see. Killing Carpe early, and Carpe is going to go over to McCree now. Usually a good answer to Junkrat, a chance to shoot those rip tires out of the air too.
Yeah, and to deal with Dante on the Tracer. A question for the Shock would be whether Dante remains on Tracer after using the Pulse Bomb. And now we have the more standard Reinhardt and Zarya look from the Fusion. They have plenty of time to charge the Graviton up with over 3 minutes left. I think you just make the slow push right now. Both of these tanks have historically favored Reinhardt when possible.
Yeah, trying to build out ult economy. Ooh, Dante. You know, it's like you said. He waits for him to dive in. Nice kill by Carpe. Man, Poco waits for them to dive in, and he catches them without those movement abilities. Another 2 kills on that D.Va ultimate. Nevix D-Mag. Boombox doing work. Nice shot from Shadowburn and Carpe on that Junkrat tire.
And now they're just going to keep on pushing forward. Both teams using the Valkyrie, but the Fusion continuing to make space with more of these tanks. Dante did switch over to the Zarya after using the Pulse Bomb.
Wow, it's spawn camp time for Philadelphia Fusion. Carpe just pushing him back, kill by kill. Dak using the res early on Sleepy here. Sleepy with the Transcendence now. There's the Deadeye, and he kills. No, can't quite find any with that.
Everybody just hiding behind the payload, so the zone not there either. They can't get much room towards the final point. Still 2 minutes to work with, though. Shadowburn is 97% of the way towards his Graviton. Let's take a look.
That's so close. They got to keep Fraggy up, though. There's the Graviton Surge. Fraggy with a nice kill on Nomi. Self-destruct comes in again. That payload's so close. Dak hammered down, and that will be it. Philly will finish with a good amount of time left on the time bank.
Still an opportunity for the Philadelphia Fusion to go ahead and win this map. Great patience at the end. You can see the shot calling is starting to be there when you have them plan around their ult charges. You can see Carpe spamming that he was getting the Deadeye very quickly. That changed into Shadowburn using the Graviton, and you could also see that they knew they were going to have the Earth Shatter immediately thereafter. Go ahead, get a couple of swings in, and then use that Earth Shatter to stop anybody from reinforcing onto the payload. A very clean series of ultimates.
Yeah, and this is where Philadelphia starts to look really scary, right? Because when they pair that great individual skill with some really good shot calling, good teamwork, that makes this team, possible end-of-stage playoff contender.
Yeah, I agree with you, Doa. That's where they're going to evolve. That's where we expect them to be better than when they start here in stage 1.
Yeah.
Shock still have a chance to go ahead and tie up this map, but unfortunately, that doesn't mean that they're going to have a chance in this series. So
it's going to be tough. It's certainly going to be a challenge here for Shock as Fusion, because they have time left in their time bank, gets to attack first. And if they take point A, that's going to be it.
Yeah, well,
or get one tick on point A, rather.
Yeah, but even so, Doa, because they've already won 2 maps in this series, they've already taken the win. This is just icing right now on the cake for the Fusion.
That is very true. The worst Fusion can get in Eichenwald here is a tie.
So they're going to be feeling pretty good about themselves, and we are now just playing for this final map point. We'll see if Philadelphia Fusion can take a more commanding lead here when it comes to map differential in the standings.
That's right. Playing it patiently here. All they need is that one tick. So you don't need to be hyper aggressive. I can't believe I just said that, but it's true. I always like to be hyper aggressive.
You actually, Neptuno and Shadowburn are well around the other side of the point right now. They're setting up a big arc when it comes to attacking. And here comes Carpe. Shadowburn and Neptuno are going to be popping over the rear side of the point right now. Carpe will fall.
Baby Bay with 2 there. Just a great flashbang into a couple kills, and Sleepy will finish off Poco, and that'll be Philadelphia Fusion back to spawn.
That was a good read by the Shock, though. As soon as they didn't see Shadowburn, they knew that he was going to be coming around from the other side. So all 6 of them just rush away from the point and onto the members of the Philadelphia Fusion, who couldn't quite spring the trap quickly enough to surround them on the control point itself.
And Carpe getting closer to that pulse bomb. Pretty much coming up the middle now.
For a straightforward attack.
Yeah, there's a dive. Trying to get behind Dante. Has to recall out of there. Caught a grenade at the wrong time. Fraggy does get taken down. And Poco demech. So this is already another problem for Philly, and they are down to just 25 seconds left.
They're going to have the Valkyrie. Pull that in right now. Have the barrage as well. Dak used the Valkyrie in the last attack. So they retreat after just losing 1 player in Fraggy. And now they've got 10 seconds to make their way, dive all the way back onto the point.
A good amount of ults for both teams coming into this one. Shadowburn gets that big knockback. He's got to watch out for that Deadeye, though. That could be a problem. They got to kill Baby Bay fast here if they can. Onto the point. Right now, Shadowburn coming from behind, looking for that barrage. He does find Dante. Oh, gets flown into. Blows himself up a little bit there. Poco, demeched.
It's not going to matter. He's going to come back up thanks to the Valkyrie advantage that we see from the Fusion.
That's right. It's a brawl, man. But Shock finding the kills. Nevix a little bit on his own. Baby Bay is there. Now they bring the Winston back in again. And Dante with that kill onto Neptuno. That is big, and Shock will hold. So it does end up being a draw on Eichenwald. But Philadelphia Fusion still wins this series 2-1.
Yeah, they do. Philadelphia had just all they had to do was get that draw on that final map to go ahead and win the series. They're not going to get as many points as they could have with that 3-1 victory, eluding them.
Hey, but despite the loss, I feel like we saw some good preparation for San Francisco Shock. They certainly had their number on Dorado, but again, it just wasn't enough. The individual skill matchups going the way of Philly.
I think that there were a lot of winnable maps there, though, and it does give me encouragement that Shock did have a great sort of pick strategy and anti-dive.
That's right. Well, we'll take a quick break, guys, and when we come back, the desk breaks down that match. Don't go anywhere. This is the Overwatch League.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Intel and Omen by HP. Welcome back. Our first match here of the second week, day one, is done, and we know the Philadelphia Fusion now improved to 2-1. Unfortunately, the Shock find themselves near the bottom of the leaderboard at 1-2. And to break it down for you, we brought in Sideshow and Bren once again. Let's start here with Oasis, because this was one of the more fun control maps to watch. It all started with a very strong opening for the San Francisco Shock. They got up to 99% to 0 in their opening attacks.
Yeah, so in general, it was looking pretty good for Shock to begin with. This first initial round, they looked strong. Their play style was definitely sort of focusing the Carpe and Shadowburn, sort of trying to get them out of position. Babybay on McCree was a big sort of powerhouse player in the reasoning why they took this first map in the end. However, it didn't look too hot in the follow-up rounds at all as it was going into it.
Yeah, and even on this map, it's got to be said that they went to a 99-0 lead, and the Philadelphia Fusion was still able to come back and almost steal it away from them. So still a little bit unstable on this point.
Yeah. And this combo is so beautiful. Perfect Graviton by Shadowburn, catches everybody. And then Poco, we talked about his ultimates. Well, his teammates set him up for that one. Gets the 4K. As we saw, it was the Fusion taking the second stage. So let's talk about the big picture here, because Shadowburn, for me, was a monster. His far is uncontested in the Overwatch League from what I've seen so far. But at the end of this one, you saw him pull out the tank here.
Yeah, absolutely. So his Zarya is a little known fact. He does play that hero to a very high standard. Alongside his Pharah, alongside his Genji. We saw the Pharah coming out in the second round, and that dominated across the map. But the Zarya, as you can see, this is the comparison against Dante, because Dante also pulled it out. The most interesting to me was the fact that his time to charge his ultimate was so much quicker than Dante's, cutting almost 30 seconds off the top of it. And this was mainly down to the play style of how they worked around Shadowburn. It was a lot more passive. You notice he had a lower average energy. However, the play style of San Francisco Shock, which was kind of trying to de-mech Poco, get him desuited quite often with Nevix on the Roadhog, didn't really work out in favor. Shadowburn managed to basically just farm up his ultimates much quicker as a result of it.
And while Shadowburn was doing the damage on the Zarya, you had Carpe behind the enemies or above them with the McCree. Some fantastic teamwork of the two DPS players. But Sideshow, when we were off camera, I asked you what's going wrong for the Shock, and you said we're still seeing support issues.
Yeah, we are. We're still seeing support issues and support ultimate issues as well. So we've got a highlight here that I'm going to do some telestration over, but it's also indicative of things that we saw throughout the map and throughout the series, in fact. So here's the situation for these two teams. Take a look here at the timer at the top. San Francisco Shock, this was them on their first stage of Oasis, and they're at 99%. All they have to do is win a single fight, and they should be tracking the enemy's ultimates, and that means that they know that Shadowburn has his Dragon Blade up, and they know that there is a Valkyrie up for Neptuno. So their aim with this fight, now that they've picked Shadowburn, should be to go in and just force out the Valkyrie. But Dak uses his ultimate. This says to me they feel like they have a chance of taking this. But you see that Philadelphia Fusion, they respond with their own Valkyrie and get so much more value out of it because Shadowburn has this ult available. He uses his Dragon Blade here, comes in, gets the pick on Sleepy immediately, and huge damage into Babybay. Dak can't go down there. He can't resurrect these targets, otherwise he's going to get killed. It's going to bait him into this situation. So by using his ultimates in this kind of unfavorable, preemptive way, the Philadelphia Fusion are able to come out with a much better situation overall just through using that support ultimate.
Wouldn't you argue, though, if you don't use the Valkyrie right there, you're going to lose your Diva and you're going to lose Nomi?
Absolutely, they are going to lose that fight, but the key is that they only need to win one fight. And so even by losing the fight but still forcing out at least one of those ultimates, at least the Valkyrie there, which it looked like Neptuno was going to pop anyway, they still have a very strong situation if they push in next time. They'll have Dak, they'll have Sleepy, both with their support ultimates up, gives them a very strong chance of taking the final fight and recapturing and winning the stage. At the end of the day, the win condition is all that matters.
So overall, just a little more patient play is what we need to see out of the support players from the Shock. Let's keep it rolling, though, and focus on the highlights as we go into game number 4. And this game on Eichenwald showed us some of the best sniping play we have seen in a while here at the Overwatch League. And I have to ask you guys, as we watch the highlights here between Carpe and Babybay, how do these two players compare on the Widowmaker against all the other Widowmakers in the Overwatch League?
So these two guys are some of the best snipers in the entirety of the Overwatch League. The only people who really hold a candle to them are going to be some of the Korean players, Fleta in particular for Seoul Dynasty, and you might look at Pine as well.
Linkser is also fantastic,
Linkser.
though. Yeah, he is the guy that you need to point out for the West, along with Babybay, I think.
Yeah. We're not all about career here.
What do you think about Soon? Is Soon in that running, or is he only a Ruins Widow?
So Soon isn't notoriously, or historically rather, known as a Widowmaker, but he has been having big plays on their hero. He seems to have a very intelligent way of matching it up. Maybe not hitting the kind of ridiculous shots that we see from Fleder or Baby Bay or even Carpe in this final match, but he is very solid and does a lot for his team on that pick.
All right, we get to watch a lot more Widowmaker play as the tournament goes on. For now, though, we have to name our player of the match, and this, of course, is going to be by Omen by HP. Who is it? Carpe once again, no surprise as I look down and see a Tracer.
Yeah, just in general, his play, we looked at this clip a little bit earlier, you can see he's very mechanically talented, not only just on Tracer, but also the Widowmaker. The guy can flex over to different hit scan roles very effectively. He's just an awesome player all around.
Yeah, and even though Shadowburn came out with these huge, flashy performances, Carpe was there doing the damage and getting the kills consistently throughout this entire match. On Oasis, when we were all looking at Shadowburn with these huge Dragon Blades and the Pharah play, Carpe on Tracer went 25-2. Just putting in a low-key, very solid performance on basically every hit scan hero.
Yeah, and you can see as well the statistics here across the entirety of the map, the amount of eliminations. He got 87 across the board, very high number indeed. He played it for the majority of the game in general, but he did an astounding amount of hero damage for his team as well on this role.
Incredible stuff from Carpe. Carpe is your player of the match, sponsored by Omen by HP. That is going to do it for our first match of the day, but we still have so much to come. Before we get to the Houston Outlaws versus the Shanghai Dragons, we, of course, are going to visit the next matchup. It's going to be the Florida Mayhem in a big one. They take on the undefeated Seoul Dynasty. You don't want to miss it. Commercial.